Cool. All right, so I'd like to open the Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, August 9th, 2021. I'd like to kick off the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. Just a quick announcement that this meeting is being recorded by MCTV, and I'd also like to take a couple seconds, if it's okay with everyone. I'd like to make a couple of announcements of my own, if that's okay.
Yes.
As many of you have heard, we lost little Danny Sheehan night before last. He passed away peacefully in his sleep, sleeping with his mother, and Danny was an amazing kid. He and his parents, Natalie and Dan, inspired me personally and on a regular basis during their fight with cancer. I'm sure that Danny's story inspired or influenced many of you as well. I've seen so many great examples of that love on the streets of Marshfield, just ribbons and outpouring of love, and I'm very proud of that. I know Wednesday evening is, and our Chief Tavares is here, so you can actually say a few words about this as well if you'd like. But I do know that the family of Officer Danny Sheehan has allowed the Marshfield Police Department and the people of our great town to send Danny off in a way that he would greatly appreciate. As the police have said, Danny never liked it quiet. He liked it loud and proud, and that's kind of the way his send-off's going to be as well. So I'm inviting everyone, and you may have read it on Facebook. If you haven't, you can go to the Marshfield Police Department site and line the streets, the yards, and the sidewalks of Marshfield this Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. for a final farewell to Officer Danny Sheehan. Police, fire, and the family of our Officer Sheehan will be escorting him from St. Christine's Church and meeting up with more police and fire by the Furnace Brook School parking lot for a procession befitting a superhero. Danny did not like it quiet, as I just said, so the sirens will blast. So everyone, that's another announcement. No, the town is not on fire. Danny Sheehan is being sent off. And the lights will shine, and we hope Marshfield turns out in the colorful attire Danny favored and makes as much a noise as he did. No doubt he'll be smiling down from above. So the route will go from Roach Brothers, Lights down 139, and Ocean, turning onto Dyke Road and Careswell, then on to Webster and back to Ocean, ending at McDonald's Funeral Home. So I just wanted to make that announcement. Chief Tavares, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you covered it well. The wake will be at St. Christine's from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. and then the celebration parade will start at 7 p.m.
Awesome. Because I know a lot of people can't make the wake, so this is a great way. If you can't make the wake, or it's hard to get over there, this will be a great opportunity to show your appreciation and your love for Danny. Anything from you, Mr.
No, it's
Darcy?
very well said. Very sad what happened. He was a big inspiration, and I thought it was nice that Jason Momoa, who plays Aquaman, so he's going to dedicate the second film to him. So
That's right.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I didn't even hear that, so that's pretty awesome. Cool. So my second announcement is a little more upbeat. It's I know a lot of people have heard, if you aren't aware, we do have a major music festival in our town. We haven't had it in over 2 years because of COVID-19, and this past weekend, albeit a smaller version, took place at the fairgrounds over the weekend. I attended. I'm a big fan of live music, if you don't know, and I'm always greatly impressed by the way that Dan and Jess Hassett, and along with their team, produce their events. They always seem to go off very professionally. It's a lot of moving parts, and they do pretty well for people that really didn't have a background in major event planning every year. I also want to recognize and thank our own Marshfield Police Department, Chief Tavares, Lieutenant Artie Shaw, who led that detail, correct? And also our Marshfield Fire Department as well, and the State Police and the Plymouth County Sheriff on their great work at the event as well. Once again, there were 0 arrests, and there were no major issues of any kind, so that's an ongoing trend with the Levitate Festival. So well done to the police, and well done to the people in Marshfield and the people that came to our event and truly made that event an event of music, peace, and love. So anything you'd like to say?
no, very well said.
Cool. All right. That's all I got. Let's move on to the town administrator report.
Okay,
Mr.
Mr.
Maresco.
Chairman. Thank you. Week of July 26th, they had a meeting with the re-precincting committee was formed by our town clerk. As folks know, we had the 2020 census. Now we have to reposition our line slightly for some of the wards, so for the precincts, so we're working on that with the active committee. We had the COVID-19, we brought back the task force. Our chief is back chairing the task force, and we're talking about issues and preparing to keep our residents safe and preparing to do testing for our employees. We got the clinic operating next door. People can come and get a shot Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 to 2. Today we had 24 people show up and get their shot, so we're on an upward trend. Weekly owner, architect, and construction meeting on the police project. People going by there, they can see they're assembling the roof. They put the trusses up, so the project's moving along very well. Weekly meeting with PMA, which is our owner project manager, and we meet with them once a week just to go over, finer details, problems that may encounter, where we are with stock coming in the process. Senior Center, the Council on Aging, we have our weekly construction meeting. Anyone going by there now can see that the building's all buttoned up. They're working on the inside trades, electric, HVAC, plumbing, and starting to work on some of the finish work. It's all insulated. The plasterboard's up, so it's really starting to take shape. We have a weekly DPW construction meeting. The bids are out for the sub bids and the GCs. We've extended it by a couple of weeks, and we should hear by the end of the month, and we'll know if we're able to select, if it comes in reasonably. These are very precarious times with not only are we dealing with shortages of raw materials, there's a lot of challenges out there of really, being able to get the product delivered on time. And, some of the costs are all over the place. Steel and lumber still running really high, so we'll keep monitoring that. Had the Levitate walkthrough at the fairgrounds, August 7th to the 8th. We had a safety meeting with Maya. We meet every quarter where we bring in the schools, public safety, general government, and we talk about, it's all about to prevent accidents, prevent falls, what you can do better, trainings, things like that. So that went really well. We had a financial team meeting that Patrick runs as the finance director. We talked about closeout, special town meeting, free cash, and we talked about munis, and everything's moving along really well. Had a meeting with conservation and the building department to discuss some ongoing enforcement issues and better communication between the two and sharing of agendas. Meeting with the supervisory union to deal with the personnel issue. Reviewed CPC application for the dog park. Patrick put together, and we made some adjustments and sent it off to you, Steve, to take a look at when you have a free moment, and we'll get that over to CPC. Had a meeting with Patrick to review and update the clinic costs, reimbursements, and testing. I'm happy to report that we're getting checks in. I think Patrick got another check in today, so they're much quicker than FEMA was with snow and ice reimbursements. They're only up to 2014.
Today we just got Medicare Part B for the month of February, so we were shocked to see something from the federal government.
So it's exciting. Yeah, we do get reimbursed. If anyone's listening, we get reimbursed $40 a shot, so that's really good. And it's exciting to see the money coming in. Just for folks to know, we set up the. They may have seen that shed at the clinic. We repurposed the shed, once using by the beaches down in Wrexham, and the other one here, and that's going to be testing. In the past, with testing, and testing is going to be big again this year as the numbers start to come up. We contracted out to a private sector company to do our testing. We were able to do it cheaper. It was going to be about 50% of the cost, and we were notified last Thursday that the government's giving us all of the testing stuff because we got our own site. They're going to give us the testing materials, so it's costing us virtually zero. So that's good news. Okay, week of August 2nd, weekly meeting with PMA, discuss the challenges of police and DPW projects. Meeting with Karen Paulette, who's our veterans officer, Lisa Potts, the assistant, and the trustees. As folks know by now, Bonnie is put in his papers to retire, and we had two major issues. One, we needed to get someone to cut the lawn, so DPW is stepping up to cut the lawn, not only at Veterans Park, but at the South River Park. And they worked on a job description. They worked with Danielle, with HR, to get an ad out to hire a veteran to come and manage both of those parks. But in the meantime, we have some backup to keep it looking beautiful. We had a weekly owners, architect, and project meeting with the police. We had Lobster Fest meeting, bi-weekly police building committee meeting, which is a public meeting. Participated in the state. We hosted the state vaccine quality assurance. They did a site visit here to our new site. They never made it out when we had the big site, but they did come here. They spent 2.5 hours. We had to have everybody there asking every single question, from security, how you access the freezers, what's the SOP for the freezers, shots, checking people, protocols. We passed with flying colors, so it was very exciting. Fred Russell, we had a weekly update on a number of maintenance issues as we're kicking off the beginning of the school year and we're getting into the end of summer now. Animal shelter project, looking at doing some insulation over there. Some roof work needs to be done. Some new doggy doors need to be installed, and some interior painting. Shoreline Aviation, the administration building, that's actually owned by the town. We had to replace some rotted wood around the windows and the door frames to keep that in good shape. Brant Rock Bathhouse, we're going to have to replace the roof. And Town Hall, we're going to be doing some trim painting on the exterior. Follow-up meeting with Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital on the MIH medical program with Chief Simpson, our medical fire consultant, Chief Hawking, Patrick Delarusso, and myself, and Deputy LaSalva. And the MIH program's going well. We're ready to roll. They're going to be meeting with the senior center. They're going to be reaching out to the Welch Healthcare behind Roach Brothers. We'll begin there, and it's called Are You All Right? So we'll be able to, the MIH program, you work with the hospital, you check on people that have been discharged, and the whole idea is for them not to have to be readmitted. When they're readmitted to a medical facility, there's a huge fine that goes to the hospital, so they take that money and they're able to fund a program like MIH. So it's a new direction in medicine, and it's not ambulance because you're not dispatching an ambulance, you're dispatching the paramedics, and they work under the license of the doctor at Beth Israel Deaconess. So it's real state of the art. Big thing, we had a meeting in Situate. People have by now have heard on the radio that the Coast Guard, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they want to close the seasonal Coast Guard station, which Coast Guard stationed at Situate, and that's huge for Marshfield and Situate. Even they would take care of from Marshfield and Situate down to Plymouth, and then not towards Hull. Now, they're saying that they're closing because they want to increase synergy. I don't know, closing and causing it. So if they were to go ahead and close that, it will add 50 minutes of travel time for someone to get here if Mike DeMeo has to rescue someone out on the ocean. And just for them to get, if you know anything about Point Allenton, the dock's over 100 yards. That's 300 feet that they have to run to get to the boat, and then a 50-minute ride in decent time to get here to assist in a rescue. So Jim Boudreau, because the town of Situate hosts them, pulled a meeting together at their new EOC, which is located on 3A, and they had surrounding towns, Cohasset, Hull, Hingham, Marshfield. We were all in attendance. He had on the phone Senator Markey's office. Jim Cantwell was there, Senator Warren's office, Congressman Keating, Congressman Lynch, Rep. Kearney was there, and Senator O'Connor was there. And, everyone's working. No one wants to see them leave. Situate said if it's a matter of money, they do charge them, I think it's like $9,000 a year to cover the utilities for the boat to be plugged in there. They would gladly waive that fee, but according to the Coast Guard, it's not necessarily the cost. It's about using the men and women that are on the boat to do other exercises for them. But it would be devastating, and it would really be dangerous to put people. It would be very tough. So we're going to be putting a lot of pressure on them. Everyone's involved. You got the senior senator from here. I wouldn't want to be going before his committee if they're not going to fund it. So I think hopefully we'll get some good results. Attended the opiate vigil meeting. As folks know, on the August 31st is the annual Opiate Awareness Day On the 24th of August, they'll put the flags out. I think it's 2013 or 2031. I'll clarify, but it's one of those numbers. We'll have the number of flags that go up. It's very sad. On the 28th, August 28th, there'll be a sunrise service at the, what is the park?
Harbor Park.
Harbor Park, thank you, at Harbor Park. So it's going to kick off right at 6 o'clock, so you want to get there about 10 minutes to 6. And they're going to do that. They're going to have anyone that went last year will be similar, just be a little bigger. There'll be some more speakers. There'll be some inspirational music. There'll be some readings. There'll be an opportunity for people to share their own personal stories. And if people want to bring and decorate rocks and put them, they can put them under the tree like they did last year. So all of that will be going on. Dealt with some personnel issues, meeting with the assessor's office on new growth, meeting with Bill Grafton and Eric, his assistant, on ongoing Eversource issues. Eversource needs to expand a couple of the substations. That has direct implications of us being able to get a power purchase agreement going in the Cap landfill. So I was on the phone today with No Fossil Fuel and their lobbyist, and Jim Cantwell, because Senator Markey's intervening in that process also. Had a meeting with Patrick and the IT staff on public safety and cybersecurity needs for our public safety, for our general government, for DPW. And we did a Levitate final walkthrough with the fairgrounds, and as we heard from our chairman, everything worked out perfectly well. Everyone was safe. Everyone had a great time. So thank you. That was my report.
Thank you, Mr. Maresco. Excellent. Any comments?
Yeah, just glad to hear word's getting out up at the clinic here at Town Hall. And 24 shots today, so it seems like we've already covered our expenses for the whole
Yes.
clinic for the week.
Yes, we did. Thank you.
I think it's amazing, though. I'll make a comment on that. It's not amazing. I think it's great that we're still doing it because we had such good turnout. But it just shows that there are people that have waited for whatever reason, and it's great to see them, coming forward and getting the shot. As everyone knows, the Delta variant is alive and well out there, and in other parts of the country, it's running rampant. And the more we, practice, we rely on the science and do the things that we need to do, the more chance we're not going to fall into one of those situations. So I think it's great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. All right, so let's get on with our action items. I'm gonna jump to item number 5, if that's okay with you guys, since our chief of police is here, and I'm sure he has many things to do. Chief Tavares.
Thank you.
So this action item number 5 is discussion and vote on police chief recommendation for 4 full-time police officers. Chief, I've read all the recommendations that you've made, and I've read their bios, and they seem very qualified. Would you like to say anything?
No, they're excellent candidates. You saw the background that we did on them fairly recently because they were appointed or given conditional offers of appointment as part-time officers just a couple of months ago. So now there's 4 of them we'd like to transfer over to our full-time staff just to fill vacancies. They're not new positions. These are just to fill spots that have retired. I can explain briefly if you'd like for people that might be listening at home.
Sure, I think that'd be great.
Okay, sure. So the police department requisitioned civil service for a list of eligible candidates for 4 full-time permanent police officer positions. A list was then developed based on a 2-in+1 formula. Essentially, they double the number of hires and add 1 onto it. This includes all ties. A list for 4 police officers is then created of the top-ranked 9 candidates who indicate that they are willing to accept appointment. I then thoroughly review the candidates, take input from the senior command staff, and make a recommendation to the select board. If a candidate is selected below another candidate that is rated higher, a letter of bypass must be written to justify why. The select board is the appointing authority for the police department. I'm very proud of all of our candidates. After review, I find that all candidates were afforded fair and equal opportunity for consideration, and the candidates who have been selected were the top most qualified. No candidate was bypassed with this recommendation. I recommend that the Select Board appoint the following 2 candidates: Zachary Coyne and Connor Lemieux as permanent full-time police officers, effective Friday, August 27th, 2021.
These two candidates have already graduated from the full-time police academy, which is a huge cost savings and time savings to the town and the police department. So I would ask that those two be appointed permanent full-time police officers effective Friday, August 27th. Additionally, I recommend the Select Board offer conditional offers of employment as permanent full-time police officers to the following two individuals, Richard Perry and Elias DiTullio, effective immediately. So the conditional offers could be, you could make that effective tonight. So I think there'd be two separate motions if
Right.
that would be made.
Yeah, and so just to be clear, so Zachary Coyne and Connor Lemieux have graduated from the academy, which we would typically pay for if they hadn't graduated.
And it would take about 6 months.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a huge cost savings for us.
And then we have the other two conditional offers. They do have to wait to go to so it's going to be about 6 months or so before they can actually be active, right?
So the next police academy that's scheduled is in Plymouth next month, and both of those candidates are on a wait list.
Right.
Should you appoint them, give them the conditional office, they're on a wait list. Now, there's no guarantee that they'll both get into the Plymouth Academy, but I believe that there's another one that starts in Randolph in November.
Okay.
So it would be within the either next month or maybe November. They would be ready to go to the academy, followed by 6 months of training, followed by 3 months of field training after they graduate the academy, and then 1 year of a probationary period.
Okay. That sounds good to me. I have no other questions, Mr. Darcy.
No, it's pretty straightforward. Thanks for the breakdown, Chief.
Thank you. Appreciate
great.
it.
All right. So I'll make a motion. A couple motions. First motion is to appoint Zachary Coyne and Connor Lemieux as permanent full-time officers effective Friday, August the 27th, 2021.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then the second motion is to offer conditional offers of employment as permanent full-time officers to Richard Perry and Elias DiTullio, effective immediately August 9th, 2021.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, great.
That's excellent. Thank you very much for the support. We greatly appreciate it.
No, congrats on your hires.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so we'll get on to the next action item. It's a discussion and vote on Veterans Agent request for permission to accept donation. Let me get that. I have a letter to the Board of Selectmen that permission to accept donation. The Town of Marshfield Veteran Services is requesting permission to accept a donation in the amount of $250 from Laura Woodbury. This donation will be used to assist our veterans and their families in time of need. I thank Ms. Woodbury for her donation, and I have no other questions.
Yeah, appreciate the donation. No questions.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the $250 donation from Laura Woodbury to the Town of Marshfield's Veteran Services.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, next item, discussion and vote on donation of picnic tables to the Recreation Department. I love seeing donations, it's great. So we received a request from Nick and Shannon Drossopoulos who own the Brant Rock Hop, and they would like to donate 6 picnic tables to the Recreation Department of Marshfield for the Coast Guard Hill Playground. Each table is valued at $300. They spoke to the rec department, and they were advised to receive approval from the Board of Selectmen. And I thank them for their generous donation. I have no questions.
Yeah, no questions.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the donation of 6 picnic tables, $300 value each, to the Recreation Department for the Coast Guard Hill Playground by Shannon Drossopoulos of the Brant Rock Hop.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Aye. Next action item, discussion and vote on waiving of electrical permit fees for COVID testing shed. Mr. Maresco, do you have anything to comment on
Just
this?
very quickly, Mr. Chairman, the board's the only one that can waive the fee. We're not going to charge another department or charge the Board of Selectmen, so building department's coming to just waive the fee for the permit.
Great, so then we'll get our testing building wired for sound, and we'll be ready to go. I have no questions. Any questions? Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the waiving of all permit fees for the shed at Town Hall that will be used for a testing site for our employees.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. The next item, action item, is discussion and vote on request for permission to hold the Run for the Hills 5K, which is happening on 9/6/2021. This is coming from the Marshfield General Store, and the run will begin at 10 a.m. on Old Main Street. Turn left onto Pleasant Street to the end, left on Summer Street, and left again onto Prospect Street to the finish. That's 5K. It would allow this route allows the runners to stay on the left-hand side of the road against traffic and provide the convenience of a loop route rather than a point-to-point route. Volunteers from the community will be posted, and there will be a nominal entry fee. The race event will be concluded by noon. And just for informational sake, the proceeds from the race will be used for the benefit of Marshfield community via the general store's discretion, in particular the funding of scholarships for a deserving graduate of Marshfield High School. They're hoping this will remain an annual event. It seems like they have, I don't know, do they have everything there? I see they have Kevin Filer's.
Yes.
No issues with the police and no issues with fire. So I have no questions. I think it sounds good.
Yeah, no questions.
All right. So I will make a motion to approve the Marshfield Hills General Stores Run for the Hills 5K race that will take place on Monday, September 6, 2021 at 10 a.m.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and we took care of 5, so we'll move on to action item 6, discussion and possible vote on procedure policy and possible town meeting article regarding short-term rentals, which are Airbnb and the like. I know, Mr. Maresco, would you
Sure,
like
if you want, Mr. You mind, I'll just jump in. So, this came out back in the Chapter 337 of the Acts of 2018, which went into effect July 1st, 2019. So what we're talking about, you can go on and say you want to rent a place in Marshfield, and you'll see all these waterfront homes show up, and people are renting them. If the board voted to move these two sections, our town council put together the necessary language. If the board approved that, then it would have to go on the warrant and be voted at town meeting to accept these sections of the law. Basically what it does is, it's like if you get a hotel room, there's a hotel tax. This puts a tax on the people that are coming into the town renting. It's not paid by the owners, it's paid by the people that are renting those houses on short-term rentals. And the reason that the legislature passed that was to really alleviate some inconveniences. So a town like Marshfield, our population goes from 25 to say 40,000 people. So we have those additional people, so we're a responsible community. We need to make sure that we have fire, that we have police, that we have ambulance coverage, even DPW, keeping the roads clean, extra trash pickup, all of that. We incur all those costs, so this is an opportunity to recoup some of those inconveniences. We want people to come in here, we want to share the community, but by the same token, we're not penalizing the property owner. We're just asking for a modest up to 6% tax on their rental charge. And then that would go into the general fund, and Patrick can explain how the money would come in and how it would be dispersed.
Would you guys like me to?
Yeah, will you come on up?
So effectively, very similar to our meals tax that we get right now.
Sure.
Right? There's already a mechanism that's called hotel tax under our local receipts. There's a mechanism, very simple, right? The adoption of this, as Michael articulated, right? This is all done with the Commonwealth, right? This is all, the Commonwealth has relationships already, right, with Airbnb, all these services, right, that do this. 20% of the communities in the Commonwealth have adopted this, and and not only that, 208 out of 351, just like Marshfield, right, we get currently $10,000 a year, $9,972 to be exact this year, right, and hotel tax. This would be in addition to that. The funds would flow into, as Michael said, into the general fund, right? Those local receipts, should they be over what we estimated, will fall to free cash. And should another area in town, say for instance, the more people come, cost us more ambulance runs, cost us more this, right? Go to offset those expenses. Very simply, simply put, it's the simplest way we can do it. There's a mechanism in place. We're not reinventing the wheel, and 20% of the communities in the Commonwealth currently have adopted this to their town meetings.
Yeah, sure. So let me ask you, so the almost 10,000 we get currently, is that, I mean, we really don't have hotels in Marshfield, but we do have the Bridgeway and where else does this come
Fairview.
from?
Bridgeway, the Fairview, and then the hotel located right down the street here.
Oh, the Marshfield Hotel?
Yes, and so that, in 1989, I actually got a history lesson from our DOR representatives on this, which was 1989 when I was 3 years old, right? The town adopted that, and on April 1st of 1989, the Department of Revenue recognized Marshfield as adopting a 4% options tax, right, which is what we
Right.
currently have. Now, the ceiling on that 6%, right, and the minimum you can go is 3. So just like Marshfield historically has always had, we've always been right in the middle, right? So that's been consistently tried and true from everything I can see. So it is in the middle currently. You can figure out the math on it. I didn't do that before. I just know the exact amount we get. That's how much hotel revenue is recognized town-wide.
Yeah.
And again, do we have a crystal ball? Do we know how much this is going to make? No. We don't know yet, because believe it or not, the community, right, us, right, we cannot petition the DOR. Tony, the deputy director of, the deputy commissioner of revenue says that information is between the state and the vendor, not between the town. If we wanted to get it, petition the state for a list, they will not give you a list, right? That information's from them. So again, it's something the Commonwealth does. This is just like when you go to the Marsh to say to get a beer, right? The alcohol tax on that, right? That again is between the Commonwealth and the vendor, right?
Right.
That's a tax. So the town is not going to have any additional overhead expenses, none of it. And we'll, I'm sure that Michael and I will articulate a message to share with obviously to go through you guys for town meeting. But again, there's no overhead. And again, it is just like a hotel tax. People are making a choice, right, to just like a service, just like people make a choice to go get a beer at the restaurant. The Department of Revenue treats it as no difference. It's an assessed tax, right? It's not a committed revenue. It's nothing that's required, right? It's somebody's making a choice. Unlike taxes, which is guaranteed, which we can enforce, right? This is a tax somebody's electing to do. Very simple as that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I can jump in, so
sir.
the property owner has to file with the town and with the state, and they file an application annually. Now, it's interesting because we do get calls all the time. People who do the short-term rentals call and say, hey, are we supposed to? Now, the law that Patrick cited that the town adopted in 1989 was only for those 3 establishments. This new short-term rental would take care of bed and breakfast, hotel, lodging house, short-term rental, motel. So it would capture all anything else.
Well, now, I can make a point too that I know people who are in that business, not in Marshfield, but I do know that people buy multiple homes in multiple communities, and they advertise those for rental through Airbnb and HomeAway, and that's probably why you're getting calls, because they are paying them in other towns.
Right.
And it's a pretty typical. It's not a big issue because it's pretty typical across the United States and across Massachusetts. And yes, we don't know the impact, but we know it's greater than 0, which is what we're getting now.
Absolutely.
Right.
We just don't have the metrics to compare it yet.
Right. So I mean, it seems like a pretty typical thing, and that people are used to. They know that it's part of the cost of doing business if you want to come stay at a short-term rental. That's all I have. Do you have anything?
You guys broke it down perfectly. I'd just be repetitive, so I have nothing to add.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Oh yes. Sorry, Attorney Galvin.
Casual. Can you come up?
That's okay. It's summertime.
Hey, it's a collared shirt.
It's summertime and the living is easy.
Red, white, and blue.
Very patriotic.
The closure of the Olympics. So there's actually 2 options. One is the local excise tax, but there's also a 3% community impact fee you can adopt too.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to make clear. And it doesn't apply to people that own properties that they rent them less than 14 days, although anybody that uses Airbnb has to register.
Right.
and they use that as a mechanism.
Or any of those sites, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So there's two things. There's the local excise tax, and then there's a 3% community impact fee, which are basically you can use for affordable housing or for local infrastructure. So that's the two options that you have.
Okay. Is it typical that other communities have would charge both?
208 communities out of 351 charged
Both.
that first option that Bob had. 20% of the communities have the additional 3% tax, which I believe is one of the items being discussed as well.
So would we put both on the ATM and let town decide if they wanted to charge both, or would we? I mean, that's what we would do, correct?
It's yes, it's up to the board, so when you can decide which ones you want to advance to the warrant.
You know, the excise tax money is general revenue, but the impact fee is specialized for affordable housing or for local infrastructure impacts from these type of things.
Okay.
And based on your collective experience, the 3%, do you think it's better towards affordable housing or towards infrastructure?
Well, you know what, like, it's either or.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can spend a little bit towards that,
Oh, okay.
or you can change it from year to year.
So you have
But
flexibility.
it's special revenue where you're committed to spending it either on affordable housing or infrastructure.
Got it. So year to year, you have the flexibility to choose.
Yep, you
how
could
want.
spend all on infrastructure, all on affordable housing, or any combination thereof every year.
And it's not subject to town meeting authorization after. Once it goes special account, just like the solar account, this board would have the permission to effectively say, you know, to instruct Michael to say, this is what we're doing.
We're going to do affordable housing this year,
Exactly.
or we're going to infrastructure, you know, we've got to fix a building or something.
Yeah. So I guess my feeling is, and you know, this is my feeling is that that we should put both on the warrant and allow town meeting to decide, because I do know we have we're always fighting to make sure that we have more affordable housing in Marshfield, and we also have a pretty significant infrastructure challenge in keeping things, you know, up to date, and you know, I mean that includes seawalls as well, correct, and other parts of
Infrastructure, that's
yeah,
right.
anything
Yes.
like that.
Any infrastructure.
Any infrastructure.
Streets,
Sewer,
seawalls.
streets, sidewalks.
I think, you know, considering that the majority of the people that will be paying this are coming here and enjoying our town, and we, you know, we're the ones that repair and fix up the town, I think it makes sense to give the town a chance to make a decision on this.
3 cents on a dollar, not too much
Not,
more.
it's not crazy money to come to Marshfield. Anything else on your?
No, agreed.
Okay, all right. All right, so thanks, Attorney Galvin. So I'm going to make a motion to put on the special town meeting warrant for October 18th, 2021, the following two articles. First will be a warrant article authorizing the imposition of a local excise tax of not more than 6% on a transfer occupancy of various types of short-term rentals, now authorized by Chapter 337 of the Acts of 2018, effective on July 1st, 2019, and also a warrant article authorizing the imposition of local community impact fee of not more than 3% on a transfer of occupancy of various types of short-term rentals, including professionally managed units and short-term rental units in a 2-family or 3-family dwelling that includes the operator's primary residence, authorized by Chapter 337 of the Acts of 2018, effective on July 1st, 2019.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. The next item is discussion and vote on request for permission to hold David Walk on 8/14/2021. The David Walk, Sally Durbus, a little over a month ago, a friend of resident Sally Durbus, and a person she grew up with, David Moykins, passed away from glioblastoma, and she wanted us to do something to remember him and raise money for research for brain cancer. I spent she spent days thinking about it, and she'd like to create a walk. She created shirts, and the money goes to a research facility in New York that's focused on glioblastoma. I am distributing, she's going to distribute the shirts, and she has discussed this with the Moikins, and they have decided they would like to hold the walk on the 14th of August at 10 a.m. This walk will take place at Daniel Webster School and have the same route as the pumpkin run has had in the past. As of now, which is a great pumpkin run, as of now we have 130 people who have want to attend the walk, which is pretty good for the first year, I think. It seems like she's received no sign off from Officer Kevin Filer, nothing from fire yet, correct?
Correct.
All right. So she would have to get that. So we could approve it conditionally on a fire. You have any questions?
No questions.
Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to approve Sally Durbis' request to hold David's Walk on August 14, 2021, with the following recommendation from the town and Marshfield Safety Officer regarding signage, which I didn't read, but he would like signage placed along route warning motorists of the walkers, an assembly area for the runners prior to the start of the race, not on the public way, and volunteers to assist in the area of start and finish line to assist with the pedestrian traffic, and
Subject to fire sign.
and subject to fire safety approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Do we have enough signatures for the to approve the minutes of July 26th? So I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of July 26, 2021.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. So I'd like to. So we are going to move now. I'm going to close the regular the regular Board of Selectmen meeting, and move to executive session for the purpose of discussing land acquisition that, if discussed in open sessions, could have negative impact in negotiation position of the town. So I'll make a motion to adjourn our regular Board of Selectmen meeting
Second.
You need,
and not to return into regular session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
and we just need to poll the board on this one. So, Mr. Rowland?
Aye.
Mr. Darcy?
Aye.
2-0 vote to go into executive session, not to return to public session.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.